Welcome to the Process of Purpose podcast. Again, we're here to help, inspire, and motivate people to find their purpose through the process of spirituality, health, and wealth using godly principles and values to break through to the life that God has called us to live. This is going to be a great episode on the breakthrough segment. This is going to be our 8th episode, and we're calling it Look Ahead. So on this episode, I have myself, Robert Cedeno. I have my cousin, Frank Venegas, my co-host on the breakthrough segment. And then we have a special guest with us today, Joe Morales from WFG. So we're looking ahead and really just letting go of our past, learning from our past, right? And just looking ahead. We always try to dwell on what happened to us before. We allow ourselves to be a victim of who we were, or we allow that to dictate who we're going to become. And a lot of times we got to just let go of that. And these guys are going to share amazing stories of how they did it, what they went through. And Joe Morales has an amazing story, so I'm super excited about it. I feel like this can really help someone who's stuck in their past still, who can't let go. So I look forward to sharing this with somebody. I hope you can too. I'm going to leave you with this. Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. Here's the episode. We'll start off with Joe. Where did you come from? Well, that was a little aggressive. the way it
sent you.
and then you're bald, bro. So they're gonna be like, "Wait, this guy's from Monte, right? No, but really, just kind of share where you're from. Your little bit of your background, and then how does somebody push through those circumstances? That they come through, and sometimes they don't even have control of the circumstances.
Right. Yeah, well, thank you for having me on the show. Frank and people don't know this, but Robert and Frank grew up in the same city.
Right? Yeah,
believe it or not. So it's kind of cool to be part of this mastermind.
Right. Yeah, and really.
This movement for our community.
And it's an 8 episode, so I'm super proud to be here, and I feel honored. I grew up in Amani, just in the same city as you guys did, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a low middle income city, and what's crazy about that is, as you may know, is that most of us come from parents who are immigrants, and maybe who are first generation, or maybe we're first generation kids growing up, and we grew up not in the privileged best situations as some kids that are a lot further ahead because their parents are doing well, or they had some kind of different they had a different route in life.
Right.
So you want to say something?
No, you're good. Right. You're flowing, man.
Yeah. So growing up, I have so my dad and mom are from Mexico. My mom used to work 2 jobs. My dad used to work at a place called Golfland that was no longer there, which was a historical place in South Amani.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Everyone would be like, "Hey, what school do you go to?" "Oh, South Amani."
Yeah, South Amani.
Where the Golfland's at? No, where South Amani High School's at.
Right. And so that's where my parents kind of were at the time. And I remember growing up, I have a brother who was a cop, and a brother who's was in the Marine Corps at the time, and my other brother doing his thing, and he got into some trouble really early on. So I was we're all about 10 years apart. So my older brother and I are 10 years apart. My other brother 8 years apart. And then there was me. So at the age of about 8 years old, my brother went to the Marines. My other
Eddie,
brother,
right?
yeah, that's my brother Eddie, and my other brother went to jail. And then it was me and my sister. So growing up, I really didn't have a role model or anybody to look up to. And back in the 90s, Amani was a little bit different. There was a lot of gang activity going on, and it was a rough era, especially with NWA coming out and all that stuff.
Right,
I don't know if you remember that.
Right.
And so I remember going to school, and there's times where I saw people, either stabbed, dead in the school, or people burnt in the school, or
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, those people that in Cultural Elementary. There's a lot of. It was crazy in that time. So I imagine going to school and just seeing that and thinking that that's normal.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just another casualty. Right. So, so mom and dad had 2 jobs. So my dad used to work, and then he used to work after that as well. Mom had 2 jobs. And I can't say one of them because I don't know if she'll get in trouble, but for sure one of them was she was a seamstress. And I remember she used to sew all day long. She had a machine at work and a machine at the house. And then part-time, let's just say she went to Mexico a lot, right?
Yeah.
And came back a lot, right?
Yeah, with more people.
You said it, I did it.
She's like, wait, these are my cousins? They are today.
They are today, right? Now I look back, where the heck are all my cousins?
Yeah, seriously.
Right?
I was going to say, never mind. Yeah.
So, but growing up, like that stuff was normal. You grew up in these areas, and not. I bet you, my family was the only one going through that. There's multiple families that were going through that, right?
Yeah.
And so growing up is kind of like, how do you stay away from all that stuff?
Yeah.
From all that.
Yeah, because a lot of the circumstances you can't really control.
You can't control it. It's a part of the zip code.
Yeah.
People say
Yeah.
that.
Right.
People say that money's not everything. It's up there with oxygen, I think, but it is not everything. But it does give you
More choices.
more choices,
More options.
more options.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
So you have more money, you could change your zip code, and then your kids have a better chance than you did, right? That's the
Right.
whole goal, that we work hard and our kids get a better livelihood.
Right.
Yeah.
So then growing up, so what things that kind of kept me straight in focus was sports. To be honest with you,
Right.
Yeah.
there was a period of my time where I was in 8th grade or 7th grade where I was kind of confused and I wanted to I was this kid stuck in a place where I wanted to be cool because I stutter, believe it or not, and I do stutter, Robert, a lot. And then
Now you're good now.
but that doesn't define me.
No,
Right?
it doesn't.
Right.
So early on, I was bullied a lot. I was making fun of a lot.
Yeah.
I really didn't have a lot of friends. Like now that I think back, I was telling my wife the other day. I said, "Man, you know what's crazy? Growing up, I really didn't have a lot of close friends because everybody thought I was different." And
Yeah, you are different,
I
but
am
like in a
different.
good way.
In
Yeah.
a good way, right? But back then it was not cool.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Back then it was different, and Joe used to stutter. Joe just weird, and it's because I couldn't express myself. I couldn't express myself, and the reason is because it was so hard to open up because I was bullied for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people just thought it was funny to make fun of my speech, but deep down inside, it was actually hurting me.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right.
So growing up, what started happening is that I found ways to overcome that by being a class clown. I'm not sure if you guys were a class clown or not.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But you know
Oh,
that
yeah.
annoying kid.
Have my share.
You share your first shit. Like, you know that annoying kid that used to have a joke after everything
Yeah.
and just try to be, and just either I probably made fun of some kids, and I do apologize if I ever made fun of you.
I've been in that situation one time. Like, I was talking like about somebody trying to be funny, and I didn't realize that she was sitting like 2 seats behind me, and it was a female, at the time, and I felt like mortified, bro. Like, I was like, never again. This was like in probably like 6th grade, man, when I was a jerk. So I was a jerk, and
So we all go through a phase.
yeah, definitely.
So you could have been my bully back then.
Probably.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, when I got moved up, you were a junior, so I wasn't telling the starting middle linebacker anything at that time. I was like,
So back to so I was growing up, so I was bullied a lot. So a lot of it was sports. So a lot of the way that I got my anger out was through
Right.
sports. I used to put on the pads, and this intense, deep down, the best way to describe it is like a lion, like a roaring lion just came out,
Right.
right? And I just want to hit people hard because not only was I suffering from bullying, I was suffering for the struggles back at home. My mom and dad weren't getting along.
Right.
My dad was an alcoholic, and my mom, I remember. And I didn't get against my dad. I'm not a victim of any circumstance. Rather, everything happened to me. It did happen to me. Happened for me.
Right.
yeah,
Right. So I remember my dad used to get very verbal when he used to drink, and me, my mom, and my little sister used to sleep in a van, in the streets, and to let my dad cool down because he used to get very verbally abusive. Right. And not only was there was a lot of things going on that made that happen. But growing up, that's kind of where I was growing up. I'm not sure, and there's a lot of people that could probably relate to something like this.
Right.
And I was telling someone the other day, I said, man, we all have a past. We all have a history, right?
yeah,
But that doesn't define you. So back to sports. I played sports, play high school. And even then, now, I think at every stage of your life, you go through some adversity, right?
Right.
So
Oh,
the
yeah,
first
for sure.
adversity is like, hey, you're Mexican, you're only 5'10", 5'11". How the heck are you going to play football?
Hey, you got taller after, huh?
Yeah, 5'11" and 3/4.
I was like, bro, when you walked in today, I was like, dude, you look so big, like tall.
Over the couch. And the microphone.
That's awesome, man. Well, I know you're sharing those struggles that you went through. Besides football, because I know that was like probably your biggest outlet. How did you push through those circumstances? Because you didn't choose to have a starting problem when you were little, right?
No, just have to go with it.
Yeah, right. And like you didn't choose, like you said, zip code.
Right.
You didn't choose that. Your parent, your father at the time. He was abusing alcohol. So how did you push through those circumstances?
I think God gives everybody a purpose.
Yeah.
And He's just waiting for you to step into it.
That's good.
That makes sense. So I think that growing up, there was a lot of situations, and I could have gone, way left or way right.
Yeah.
But since it wasn't my purpose, I never stepped into it. It makes sense. So I think that growing up, He kept me in sports and kept me really focused. And by the time I graduated, believe it or not, so my senior year in high school, I ended up meeting the love of my life, which is my wife, Esperanza. And everybody walks into your life for a reason at the right time.
Yeah, believe
and
that.
it's up to you to be aware of what's going on and accept the fact that they're there for a reason. And she walked into my life, and I remember. So my wife grew up in Mexico as well, and she didn't have no papers. True story. So my wife and I were living together, so I kind of stole her from, her home, Mexican style. Yeah. And
the shotgun?
No shotgun, no shotgun. But I was so scared when she left the house because her, how usually you run away with your boyfriend, if you're a female, or you run away, and she decided to tell her mom that she was running away with me.
Oh man!
So imagine
that sounds like her. She's like excited about it too.
Yeah, like, hey mom, I'm leaving with Joe, and then so I sat down, and then now we're in a couch with the mom, and it wasn't pretty.
Oh man!
And so we're in the process of 8 months, right? And we're together already, and she's living with me, and she was born in Mexico. She didn't have no papers, so for a while she was working, and she wanted to go to school. And she told me, no, I could drive. What's wrong with you? You don't believe in me, blah, blah, blah. So I let her drive the car. And the day that I let her drive the car, she gets pulled over and she gets a car taken away.
Oh, man.
And my brother was the registered owner of the car, and he's a cop, right? So I remember remember calling my brother. My wife was hysterically crying. And I had to call my brother. I said, man, you got to take the car out. We got to, you go to the Temple City station and Temple City, takes out the car. And that's what's called, in every step of your life, there's defining moments. Right? And that was a defining moment for me. And here's the reason why. Because I looked at my wife, I said, I really love you, and I want to be with you for the rest of my life. I said, I think we should get married. And she's like, yeah, I kind of be waiting for you to ask me, because I ran away with you.
She was ready.
I think she was ready.
Put it on, homie. So
she ended up, we ended up going to this notary place. One day, my mom wanted to do her taxes. And I just had a question. Hey, how much is it for you to get us married? She said, $100. I looked at her and said, hey, well, you want to do it? She's like, yeah, well, let's do it. So we go buy a ring and all that stuff. And I ended up proposing her. And we had a backyard wedding. Cost no more than $2,000, believe it or not. But it's not. See, people think it's a materialistic wedding that makes you. Yeah. It's an internal love you have for each other.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And at that time, and we still do, we have this strong bond. At the time, that right there is what pushed me through. Imagine that from age 19 to now, that moment right there has shaped my life.
Right.
That's good.
Because I had to stay focused.
So that being, now that you're married at 19, that you said, hey, I got to grow up. I got to grow up. This is how I'm going to push through the circumstances. And I'm going to go to Frank really quick. So going to like Joe's story right now, and just a lot of people know your story. Mm-hmm. I know we grew up kind of similar thing with Joe. Right. We were in the same area, South Almani. We grew up in, I'm not ashamed to say it, in a mobile home, mm-hmm. and it was a lot of fun.
It was.
But, we all wanted it at home all the time. But
cops and robbers, I bet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We used to have the bike crew.
Third lane, second lane, first lane.
Yeah, and then we had a rule, like sometimes you couldn't go to the third lane, or you had to stay like the first or second. Yeah, it was crazy, bro. So that was the fun times. But, going to what he was saying, how did you push through some tough circumstances that you really didn't choose?
Well, obviously, like he said, you have moments where you can go left, or you can go right. You can become a statistic, or you can be the reason why you prove otherwise. And kind of a little similar to Joe, you come to a decision that you have to make. It's like, am I gonna be about it? So no, I got my wife pregnant early on as well.
You did it.
And she wasn't my wife yet either. Yeah, I think we were 18, 18 turning 19, and you have a decision to make. It's either be a big boy, step up, or you run away from it. And in that moment, that's where you decide to level up. So I was kind of, I had the option, but I kind of forced myself to level up in that moment, because there was one thing I knew. It was a family was important to me.
Yeah.
And even though in that moment everything was confusing, I didn't know how I didn't even know what having a kid was.
Yeah.
I knew that I was in love with her, and I knew that we still had our battles, our ups and downs, but I also knew that family was important to me, and I had to make my decision based off of what I wanted in the future.
Yeah.
Right. I could have gotten stuck and be like, dude, I made this mistake. My family's gonna look at me like this. I'm gonna get judged. My girlfriend at the time is gonna get judged. She's the only daughter. People are gonna think, you get judged right away.
Well, and not only that, sometimes you feel like, man, I'm gonna be reliving the same cycle my family has lived.
Right.
Because
that in the zip code, that's all we know is you fall in love, and then you date a girl, and then you have a kid early on. And I would say most people don't stick through it. Most people choose the easy way out, and I was aware of that. And to be honest with you, my dad and my mom's kind of served to me as an example. I was like, hey, they're still married. I was a year old at their high school graduation. I was already a year old. They can do it. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. And thankfully, I was in a position to where my parents were teaching the right example. Yes, I made a mistake, even though they told me not to do it, but after being with her all this time only tells that that's actually not a mistake. Just like Joe said, God already has your plan set for you, and sometimes these people come into your lives and there's not really much you can do about it. But at the time, when you're in the moment, you don't really understand that. You got to go through it first, and then for you to actually appreciate, how far you've actually walked on your path. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's good, man. That's really good. Thanks for sharing that. I guess I'm gonna share a little bit on this. Really, just super quick. Most people know my past. I used to binge drink a lot. Did drugs. I was doing all these things that I wasn't supposed to be doing, and I knew I felt inside that I shouldn't be doing these things, right? So from the age probably 15 to age 23, I was trying to figure everything out on my own, right? So the only way that's all I knew, right? Because I remember my parents, they would drink, and then it would get bad sometimes, and then I was starting to follow the same path as my parents, even my dad that I didn't even grow up with. Right. So I got arrested, I started doing drugs, started doing all these things that my dad was doing, and I was like, man, I need some change. So once I decided, hey, I can't push through these circumstances on my own, because I didn't choose them. I didn't choose to grow up this way. Now I need God. Right. So at that point, I decided to just give it to God. At around 20, what would you say, 23, 24?
It was 3 years ago.
Yeah, about 3 years ago. Yeah.
So you were my age.
Yeah.
Well, that's something they say, and I'm thinking about it, and it's something that sticks out to me is Proverbs 12:11. Who it says that he who works his land shall have abundance. The reason why you didn't have abundance at the time was because you weren't working your land. No,
I was out doing doing other things.
Right, and the minute that you devoted to what you're supposed to do, there's a bunch of abundance coming around you now, because he who works his land shall. Yeah. And you are working your land where you're supposed to be right now, and you're having a bunch of abundance.
Right. That's really good, man. Yeah, that's good, because, at the time, I really started living the life that I thought we were supposed to live. Yeah. I was like, hey, this is how it's supposed to be. Right. This is all I know. I was like, I'm surprised I didn't have a baby. I'm I was blessed enough to get through that time without dying. Really without or killing somebody else. Because I've shared woke up and I broke my buddy's arm. You remember Fresa?
Yeah. No.
You don't remember Fresa? No.
Yeah, they gave him a trophy for it.
Yeah. Well,
yes. Hashtag friend of the year.
Yeah. Hey, dude, he's a good guy, bro.
No, you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it was really bad. So yeah, I really had to get through those times. But growing up, my mentality was like, hey, this is who we are. That's
Right.
it. We can't get pushed through. So
And you know what? Just honestly, I feel like you kind of caught me off guard when you asked me the question. So I'll be really honest. What really helped push past those circumstances is just allowing God to work
Yeah.
with my wife and I. Because so you kind of had yours individually.
yeah.
Where you had to figure yourself out. I was still trying to figure myself out and try to figure out how to be a good dad and how to be a good boyfriend at the time. So I think what helped is when we just surrendered
Mm-hmm.
and understood that no matter how hard we tried to push each other to become better individuals, that we didn't have the answer for each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think what really pushed us past those circumstances at those moments, I can genuinely and honestly say if I didn't allow Christ in my life, my wife wouldn't be my wife today.
That's good.
And it's that serious. Like,
Yeah.
I think her and I, if we relied on our own personalities, our own understandings, we would have definitely pushed opposite directions. But because we both surrendered and we allowed something bigger than us to come in between us and work through us, I think we drew that much closer.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's good.
that's a hard decision to make
Yeah.
when you're in the midst of it emotionally.
And then there's a people that probably watching this, Robert, that don't have a spouse.
Yeah.
Right? And they probably can't say, well, I'm not married. How can I, push through my circumstances?
Or really have that motivation to actually push through, right?
And push through. And because a lot of it is that people are still stuck in the past. So what I mean that if you're stuck in the past, right, and every time we talk and we talk to you or you talk to anybody, you're still talking about what happened when you were a kid or 10 years ago.
The
5
glory
years ago.
days. The glory days.
The glory days, the good old glory days. Yeah, back then when, if you would have stayed at South Amani, we would have been CIA champs.
Oh, right.
I always get that story, right? From everybody, right? And I think about that. I said, for me, I don't even think like that.
No.
I said things happen for a reason. But anyway, that's another topic. But what I'm saying, if like people are single, that how can I push through my circumstances? Is the reason that you'll never make a comeback or move forward is because you're still stuck in the past.
Yeah.
And you have not accepted that everything happened for you, not to you, and you're not a victim of that.
Yeah.
Right? You're actually, it was a blessing for you,
Yeah, definitely.
and use that moment to move forward and now be an architect for the comeback
Yeah.
or for the moving forward.
And that's really good, man, because a lot of us, we do have that victim mentality. And then not only do we have the victim mentality, we start comparing ourselves to others.
Right.
We start comparing ourselves to others like, oh, well, I'll never have what he has because I don't do what he does, And then, we look at their success, right? It's kind of like when you go to church, right? You think about this. You go to church and you feel like, well, I can never go to church because, they're perfect. It's like, what? What? You know what I mean? Like, or no, I don't belong there because I've done this. It's like, no, why are you disqualifying yourself? You know what I mean? Like, church is it's just full of broken people.
Right.
We know that, and then we try to compare ourselves. Say, hey, why can't I be like Joe? Well, what have you done? You know what I mean? Like, how about you work on yourself and worry about what you're doing instead of comparing yourself to a Joe or maybe even someone on TV. Like you don't know what they're going through. You don't even know what the battles they've been through. So
what it is honestly I feel like we get stuck in trying to please or just conform with the way the world is doing it, and we feel like the way the world moves, we feel like, oh, that's the truth. That's what I got to be. But the thing is, everyone has different walks and different routes that we take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I would think we get stuck as individuals. We become a hostage to the judgment that we get from people. That voice keeps playing in our head.
Yeah.
And it's really like it's already long gone. You keep feeling it. You keep giving it life. You keep giving it gas, and it just keeps on burning. And you just keep labeling yourself. And really, it's everything that we put on ourselves. So we try to keep living that previous label that we can't let go of, and that's why we can't get to that next step.
That's good.
And it just weighs in on us.
Yeah.
That's what it does. It's heavy.
Another thing is that what I've done is once you have clarity of your goals and dreams and you have core values within your family, within yourself, you base decisions based on your vision, where you're going, and on your core values.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
good.
if you look at, about to get real deep here, right? Just follow me here. If you look at palm trees, right? Palm trees, when there's a big windstorm, it go all the way to the right, or it go all the way to the left. But no matter what happens, most palm trees, majority of them survive a big storm.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can be bent all the way down. And it's the same thing in life. The reason why the palm trees is able to stay up, despite up, is because underneath the ground, they're all rooted.
The rooting.
Yeah.
All the roots are stuck together.
Right.
That's good.
Right? So what I'm saying, if deep down inside, you're not rooted, you have no core values, you have no vision, you have no clarity, you haven't accepted the past, you're never going to move forward, because no matter what happens, whatever you see or whatever people say, you're going to go either to the left one day because Frank says so, or to the right because Robert said so.
Right.
A true friend will tell you how it is.
Yeah, for sure.
And they tell you because they love you, they care about you, but you respect whatever you say doesn't mean you have to do what they say.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And
You
a
can take
lot
it every way you want.
Yeah, but you have to be very rooted to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that, man. And a lot of times, like you said, once we're rooted and we're trying to move towards something, we forget to appreciate where we're actually at or what we're going through. So the whole point of this podcast right here, it's to say, hey, we know that you're gonna go through a struggle. There's a process to get to where there's really no end destination. To be honest,
there isn't.
It's always like you're gonna find a purpose, but it's always gonna be a process. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's really good stuff, man. You got anything to add to that? I think we're gonna.
Got in there.
So we got this one. What can we do to feel? You know, once we feel stuck in our all the ways, you know, because of the mistakes, how can we move past that? Like when we're carrying that baggage, what would you say?
I think you gotta be open to receiving. You gotta be open to receiving new. It just becomes habitual. I think it becomes a habit of just allowing, like I said, that heavy feeling to just consistently weigh in on you. And then if like we heard it the other day, if you don't open your hands to receive something else and let go of what's in your hands right now, you're not gonna be able to get anything new. Like literally, if you just keep holding on to things, you have no room for new stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but if you let go of it and you're open to receiving something new, a new idea, a new motivation, inspiration, or for anything, you're open and you can level up and move on to that next step to where you're really called to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know a lot of times, like what I think I heard this on a podcast the other day, and they're talking about like a lot of times we like to hold on to things, right? And we don't want to, give it to God because we're like, he has a lot of problems already. I don't want him to worry about me, right? And we forget how big God's hand really is.
Right.
I think there's a podcast,
Pastor Stephen.
Pastor or Patrick. What's his name?
I'm not Stephen.
Stephen Furtick or something like that.
Patrick.
Yeah. So that he was saying that like a lot of times like we're like, man, I need to hold on to this. I can't give it up.
Right.
But we all know that God's hand is big enough and strong enough to hold all of our problems.
Right. Or he says, if you hold on to what you have, like it's all you have, it's all you're gonna have.
Oh, that's good.
And you'll never have anything else. And if you continue to live that way, you'll always feel like this is all I have. I need to hold on to this. It's so precious to me, and that's all you're gonna end up with.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to relate to it in a business standpoint.
Yeah.
Right, because that's how I'm thinking in my head. In a business standpoint, it's a lot of gifted people out there that have
Ooh.
great talents, great gifts, great abilities, but they're just working in the wrong land.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes you need people around you that are able to lift you and guide you, that you respect and that you trust, that can tell you, hey, you're working in the wrong land. Right. You should deter from what you're doing now to this. But it takes some guts, because once you ask for accountability and you ask for feedback, that's probably the toughest thing that a man or a woman could go through, because all your flaws will show.
Yeah.
But that's okay, right? That's okay, because once you go through that, people focus on what's not going on for them right now.
Right.
Right? So it's like, I don't have this. Well, I don't have that. I don't have, whatever the case may be. My mom and dad, whatever the case may be, right? And then there's people that focus on everything everything good going on in their life, right? Most leaders or most people that make an impact in the world are always focusing on the good of people, the good around them, and where they're going.
Yeah, or even the potential.
Over the potential.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that get comfortable. At least I have a roof over my head. At least I have a TV. At least I have a plate of food in front of me. Right? When you feel comfortable in the language of, hey, at least I have this, at least I have that, you're in a bad spot, because you're actually dying deep down inside.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of these problems where where you can't push through it is because you have too much time in your hands, and you're not growing as a person. Therefore, you get to sit there and think about everything that's not going on for you.
Yeah. And then it's just life starts passing you by.
Yeah. And then you wake up and like, wait, what happened? It's 10 years now.
Yeah.
That's what between the age, most young, if you're a teen, right? Between the age of 18 and 30, most teens or most people make the mistake of not playing at their full potential. And
Yeah.
they're partying, having fun. They're going to the club. They're wasting their paycheck at the, at the places that you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Or they spend their check before they have it because they see people on TV or on social media living their lifestyle. The other day, I was having a dinner with a couple of friends of mine, and one of the guys is a guy who discovered Lady Gaga, right? And he was saying that social media is the biggest liar of all, because I have all these rappers that will go out, rent the fake cars, rent the fake chains, and the bling bling and the ice and all the different stuff, and at the end of the shoot, they go and return it back. And then you go on social media, and that's what you see, and you think that's what success is.
No, that's
That's
not.
not fulfillment. That's not
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
Right.
I like what you said there, man. Is like going back to someone holding you accountable, because you think that, you get comfortable, right? Like you said, I got that actually today, right? One of my mentors, I asked him something, and then he's like, hey, man, you're not playing to your full potential. You should be doing a lot better here in real estate. And I looked at him like, what do you mean, bro? Like, I got these numbers. Like, I start like thinking like, I got this many closes. Like, I think I'm good. And then he's like, bro, your potential is up here right now, and you're playing down here because your schedule sucks. And I was like, dang, bro. Now I got to push through that. You know what I mean? I got to take what he's taking. Like you said, you got to be rooted. Take what he's saying and go do something about it. So that's good, man. We're gonna go ahead, and this is gonna be it's not going to be the last question. We have some surprise questions for you down here, Joe, that I didn't send you. But best piece of advice that you can give to someone to actually live in the present. So live for today. What's the best advice you give somebody? We come back to you. We can go.
I'll chime in on that one for now. I think being present is the only thing we actually have. The only thing that actually exists. And very easily, we like to live in what we did yesterday to try to fix it, like if somehow it's going to be fixed, and we like to live in tomorrow because we can use our imagination to try to piece it together of how we think it's going to fall through. And for that moment, in the present moment, it makes whatever's going on kind of crappy feel kind of good, because in your head you're like, no, tomorrow I'll take care of it, tomorrow I will, and it becomes a habit of always living in the past, and you're heavy and your heart's heavy for what you've done in the past, but you think of the future because it erases that. Well, tomorrow I'm going to be a better person, and the past won't matter anymore. But what we forget is the most important thing is today is the only day we have.
Yeah.
Because as cheesy as it sounds, tomorrow isn't promised.
Yeah.
That's just the absolute bottom line. You can walk out right now and be paralyzed tomorrow, and your purpose that you were imagining in your head would never be fulfilled because we didn't act on it today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something I like to carry in my heart, is if today was my last day, did I give it all? Like, did I really? Does my wife know that I love her? Does my son know that I love him?
Yeah.
Do the people that I'm associated with on a daily basis know that I truly care about them? Did I at least make a difference in someone's life?
Yeah.
Those are things I really like to think of, because that's the only thing we can control. And if we can harness that energy rather than allowing it to weigh us down, if we can harness that energy to deliver people, and even in like the small mundane things, like just going to the store, you've heard of the ripple effect, and that's the only thing we can control, is now, loving on people now, not tomorrow. Starting your podcast now, starting your business now, investing right now, not tomorrow, because we're not going to get it.
Yeah, it's all about preparing for that tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, because if you say, hey, I'm going to do it tomorrow, well, what are you doing today to prepare?
Right. And that's when it comes into our head where like, wait, what do you mean you're gonna have $1 million saved up? Don't you remember what you did? Don't you remember who you are? Don't you remember how you messed up? Don't you remember that? Like, you're not going to accomplish this. Like, come on, let's be real. You're not.
Yeah, no one's ever made $100K in your family. Exactly. You know what I mean?
And that's where we go back to our deciding moments, or the moments that define us. Are we going to allow that to be our label, or you know, are we going to allow that to be the way that chapter goes, or are we going to understand that it's just a season, and in this season I may not control the outcome 100%, but I can control the process right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am in charge of choosing to eat better or not. I am in charge of deciding to love on someone.
I struggle with that.
What was that?
Eating good.
Getting good.
Yeah, so do I.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess to answer your question is honestly is one thing that I'll be working on is just I'm always nice to everybody. Like bottom line, you have to be nice to everybody,
Yeah.
right? Because you can make somebody's day, right? Someone's frustrated or not going to the right things, and the ultimate, you just gotta be nice. You gotta love on people.
Ooh, I love that. I like
And,
that one.
yeah,
Just
you
love
know,
on people in
and
general.
for me, it's just one of the hardest things for me to do. It's not because I don't love people. It's because I have this. Honestly, on the outside, I might look tough, but deep down inside, I'm a big teddy bear.
Right.
Right.
Same.
And I care for people. I love for people. And here's what I know. I read an article the other day that in our lifespan, we're only gonna live for about 8. Like if you compress all of our time, we only live a full 8 years worth of our life. Only
Wow.
8 years. That's with sleep, showering, this and that. We only max out for 8 years of our life. Right. And something that I've been thinking about is every day I should take a recap and say, okay, how am I doing in my areas of faith?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How am I doing in my areas of family?
Right.
How am I doing in the area of business?
Yeah.
Can I get better? Can I reassess? What can I do better? Who can I help? You know, how can I help? How can I maximize my time here more effectively?
Right.
And a lot of times is that we play life so casually that we don't reflect on all the precious moments that we're missing because we're frustrated, because we're mad. This didn't happen my way. My friend was saying this about me. My friends don't accept me, and whatever the case may be, it's something you got to stop and just stop for a minute and just really dig deep down inside and say, okay, are all the things that matter to me, did I take care of those things today? Did I let my mom and dad know that I love them?
Right.
Did I kiss my wife, my daughter, and my son, you know, before bed or in the morning before they went to school? Because tomorrow ain't promised,
Yeah, for sure.
and today isn't either,
Yeah.
right? So the thing is, it's the little things that people are gonna remember, and just don't forget to say, "Hey, I love you, man. Everything's gonna be okay.
Right.
Yep.
It always ends up being okay, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay."
That's really good, man. The way I could really just sum it all up, I actually picked this little quote. I think it's Albert Einstein, but he said, "Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow."
Right.
That's all we can really do, man. Yeah. So, before we wrap it up, we do have a couple of questions we want to ask. These are going to be kind of like rapid fire, not too much in detail, but just top of your mind, top of head. All right.
All right.
You ready too, Frank?
Let's go.
I'm gonna. This one's for Joe first. What's one tip that you would give yourself so you could go back at any age, right? And you can't change anything that happened in your life. You can't change where you're at now, but you could give yourself one tip, and at any age, what would it be?
Is it a sentence or a paragraph?
What do you want? Sentence, paragraph. It could be if you ask me, and I'll just answer this question, and however it comes out, it's one tip that I could tell anybody is that.
No, what tip would you go back and
Oh,
tell
to
yourself?
yourself.
Like if you had a
Oh,
time
yeah.
machine and you would go back, say at age 15, what tip would you give yourself?
Go into business at 18 years old. Find a mentor that's going to teach you everything he knows. And I'll never, ever again do something in my life that does not pay me over and over and over for what I've done.
Okay, nice. What about you, Frank?
I would definitely say choose love. Choose love. I feel like the world definitely needs that, and I feel like at 15 years old, you know love, but you didn't really love on people. I would say choose love, and really just be a giver.
Yeah.
Be a giver. I know. At 15 years old, we're always trying to get, because our parents are taking care of us at that age.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to see what's our next come up. I know at 15 years old, if I was more of a giver, not to say that I'm a bad person because I didn't, but I just felt like my perspective would have been a lot different, and my mentality would have been open to a whole new world had I been a giver and a lover earlier on.
Nice.
I just feel like you can't outgive the giver.
Good.
And we're here to give.
Good.
We're here to serve people and give, and I feel at 15 years old, if someone who's listening to this now and they're young, and just really soak into that, because you're 15 years old, you start and you buy that you want to outgive, you're gonna have, because I think what we get lost is where we try to measure our success based off of materialistics.
Yeah.
And I know people are always saying it, but truly, like, we cannot get lost. Like, 'cause if you remove, if I give you $1 million right now, or I gave you all the materialistics that you ever desired, can you still be a person who makes a difference?
That's good.
You know what I mean? If you had $1 billion, if you had all the materialistics, do you still matter to someone? Are you still making a difference?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that comes with giving and loving on people.
It's good. For myself, I would actually say I would probably go back to like 13, 14 years old and just,
Eminem days?
yeah, go back to that age where, and just tell myself like, hey, you know what? You're going to go through a ride, but, you know, you have a father that loves you.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? And because back then at that age, I felt like I didn't have that, even though I had my stepdad, but it wasn't like that son and dad relationship
Right.
that I have now with God.
Right.
So even though at the time I wouldn't understand what it was, like, what do you mean, bro? Like, I have a fault? No, my dad's in jail. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I would tell myself, hey, and that's it. And I will leave it at that. You have a father that loves you. That's it. So I would go back to about 13, 14. All right. So next question. So
Good
Joe,
question, by the way.
yeah, that's actually a really good question. I like that. I actually stole that from another podcast, by the way. So
Lewis
Ju-
House?
no, it's not Lewis House. Are You Real?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
What's the next question?
Next question. So Frank, what's your favorite movie? Something you can watch over and over.
Oh, man. Probably The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Yeah, and if not The Dark Knight,
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na,
no, bro,
Batman.
The Dark Knight, the new one.
Yeah, I know, but we used to do that when you were little.
Oh yeah, we did.
'Cause you think you're Batman.
And honestly, it's kind of a bad movie. The American Gangster with Denzel Washington.
Oh, that's a good movie.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Nice. What about you, Joe? A
Man,
movie you can watch over and over, no matter what.
it's tough. I like Blood In, Blood Out.
Oh, that's
Oh.
a good one too.
That's the old school one.
That's so bad, bro. It's
No,
like
but-
3 hours long,
3
dude.
hours
The
long.
locals, eh?
No, but
those
on a
locals
serious,
for
I think if I go back, there's a couple movies, but I think right now, man, do you guys remember Three Ninjas?
No.
You remember Three Ninjas, Tom Tom,
No.
back in the days?
No, you're a little older than us, Joe, so
Oh
no.
man, Three Ninjas. Okay, so something more relevant, probably 12 Strong.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Are we doing good, babe? Okay.
Cousin?
My favorite movie. Oh, I think I've shared this already. My favorite movie I could watch over and over is Forrest Gump.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, damn, ice cream.
I love you, Jenny. They're probably like, bro, this is like the third time we hear this because Joe Matascotto. I said Joe. Matascotto said the same thing, and then we're doing all the it's bad.
Scramps.
All right. Okay, so we'll go with these really quick. Joe, what would you say that your weakness is?
Taking long showers, man.
That's your weakness. That's your
I
weakness.
love showers. No, my biggest weakness is fear.
Fear.
Fear. We all it's something that we all struggle with,
Yeah, fear's a liar.
and I think for me is I know what it is. Fear is getting my first word out is the biggest fear for me because I get flashbacks when I used to stutter.
Bro, I get the same thing,
Yeah.
and then I lose my train of thought a lot.
You're so focused
So
on it.
focus on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if you take people could probably see this on Facebook, but what happens is that your problem is probably this big right here, right?
Your what?
Your problem.
Your problem.
Oh
It's
yes,
big.
yes.
But all of a sudden, right, Frank, you probably see this at church the other day, and you put it on your eye, and you magnify it
That's all
Yeah.
you see.
times 10,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And sometimes is that your problem is not as big as you think it is.
You,
Yeah.
you know what it is our weaknesses, they're huge to us, right? And we feel like the whole world is looking at our weaknesses. But that's us lying, we're lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
Because, not to say people don't care, but people don't care, people are not that attentive to your weaknesses for you not to be able to do something.
Yeah.
It's just we make it that big, and I agree with you on that.
Fear, man, is part of the movie.
Hesitation, that will be mine. I know you're
Yours?
gonna ask me hesitation.
Hesitation.
Yeah, just because you always what you try to, even right now, when you try to pour out, you want to make sure that it there's substance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what you're doing is actually there's purpose behind it, and that you delivered strongly, and that because sometimes that's the only moment you have, and if you ruin it, it's gone. It's just gone with the wind.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it just comes because the standards I try to put myself at, and I feel like it's a responsibility
Yeah.
to whatever it is I'm doing. I want to give it my best. I want to make sure my heart's in it, and I think I hesitate because I kind of second guess who I am. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
wait, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say mine is patience. Kind of the same thing. Patience. I want everything done like now.
Right.
Like or
That's a quality though.
no, I'm saying it's my. Oh yes. You're right. Well, not having patience, I guess you can say. Yeah. Not having the patience to be like, hey, this is a process. You know, this is gonna take a while. Like I wanna have the best podcast now. I want to be the number one real estate agent now. You know, I want to have the big house. I mean, I really feel like I have the best marriage, but I'm sure everybody thinks that. Yeah, right. You know, I think you should.
Yeah.
But like, I think just not being patient is my biggest weakness.
Right.
Okay, and then this one's super quick, guys. If you had one gift or talent, what would it be? Anything. Just name it.
A gift or a talent.
Yeah.
I talked to my wife about it today. I just told her that God's been working through me, and she told me it was my gift, and I said no, it's God's gift through me to His people. So for Him to just keep using me as His tool.
Okay.
That's my. I don't know if that's a gift or a talent, but just to be a spokesperson here for Him. That's it.
Okay.
For me, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah, because for me, it would be singing, bro. I wish I could sing.
Yeah, for me, maybe if I could just create a time machine.
Yeah, the gift to create a time machine. I like it. Okay. Yeah.
Machine. No, I mean, I go back. I like it.
Shit, maybe if I could just be Superman.
Superman, I could just, be Batman with Frank.
Yeah, they could just fight each other and just become friends. All right, guys. Well,